What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Would You Watch It Again, where we review your favorite movies, anime, and TV shows, and at the end, answer the only question that really matters: would you watch this over again? I'm your host D, and today me and homie Dooley are reviewing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Let's talk about it. Wakanda Forever takes place 5 years after the events of Infinity War and 1 year after the events of Endgame. The movie opens up with the death of King T'Challa, who dies from an unknown illness, and the story follows Princess Shuri and the rest of the country mourning the death of their king, while also dealing with outside forces trying to take their country's resources. Alright, so Julie, what did you think of the movie? Oh, what did you think of the story?
I think the MCU really destroyed this story, to be honest. I think the story was arguably the worst part of this movie. I think it was my biggest complaint was kind of like, one, first of all, rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, real emotional about that, definitely sad about that, but I think the movie really lacked like a centralized character and a centralized plot to follow. I think it struggled with the idea of like, who is going to replace the Black Panther mantle, and then is this going to be another revenge plot towards the end? And then it was also like, are we teaming against the land dwellers or whatever with Namor and everybody? Are we protecting vibranium? Like, it had so many different clashing stories essentially that I couldn't really follow anything. I kind of compared, like, I think, and I kind of blame that on the characters itself. I feel like, I'm gonna keep this short again, but like, I feel like Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa is like, he's like a DiGiorno pizza, and you put it in the oven, it's well cooked, and then you get the rest of these characters, and they're kind of like bagel bites you put in the microwave, and it's like, it's not bad.
I've never heard that analogy. That's hilarious.
It's not that tasty. I'm not satisfied, but it's whatever. But yeah, the story was probably the biggest miss to me, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, I feel that, and I also I agree, and then I also disagree. I do agree that the story's kind of messy. Like, there's a lot going on, but I kind of like some aspects of the story. Like, I like the Namor. I like the way they brought Namor into the MCU. Like, I've always been here type of shit, and I just happened to come out now because like you releasing or telling the world about vibranium puts me in danger, so now I have to show myself. So I like the way that they did that, and then I like the way they so at the end of Black Panther they tell everyone like, yo, Wakanda is actually this, and so now they're dealing with the repercussions of that. Like, they show like, yo, like we want your resources. The world's like, I want your resources. One is like, nah, fuck that. And now you think because we showed you this, we can protect ourselves. And so now they're dealing with that. They're dealing with Namor, the other countries. I'm gonna say America. I'm just saying America because that's what it was.
It's America, essentially. Yeah.
Americans and Britain. That's what it was. Other countries. It's America. And then also dealing with the loss of King T'Challa. So I think the story is kind of messy, but I there's certain aspects of the story I did enjoy.
I have to ask you though, like, there's two routes I feel like I could have went. I think the story, the biggest like blow to it was obviously the loss of the actor Chadwick Boseman, who they wanted to write him off as an off-screen death. So I do wonder, like, if he was alive, would this movie have suffered so much? And two, like, was it a better decision to kill him off as a character with respect to him as the actor, or would it have been better to have just recast him, or even resurrect another main character? Like, I'm really wondering what justice either one could have done. Now, I get this was a gamble. I'm wondering if they were like, if we try to recast them, it's gonna be really hard to live up to the Chadwick Boseman expectation. But at the same time, I feel like for me, the story almost suffered because they didn't have a Black Panther, essentially. Like, it's like,
so we don't get a Black Panther until essentially the end of the movie. So there, from what I was reading, the original story was essentially going to be the same. It's going to deal with T'Challa dealing with the blip, like being gone for 5 years, not ruling your country, being gone, and then also Namor is still going to be the villain. So I can only assume it was going to be the exact same storyline, just with like T'Challa dealing with this, and we're not dealing with the death of T'Challa. But you were talking about like the recasting of it. So the most beautiful part of this entire story is that they did recast them. It was just a soft recast. So at the end at the end of the movie, you get to see like, oh, him and Nakia had a son, and the son has been like alive, I guess, for like, I'm assuming 6 years. Like he was there before the blip, and then after the blip he's 5, and in the year it's 6. So I'm assuming he's like 6 years old. And she asks him his name, and it's like his American name, and then it's like his Wakanda name is T'Challa. It's Prince T'Challa, Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa. And I was like, damn, you kind of just wrote him back into the story, because now what you have is you have a T'Challa in the story, and it's still like T'Challa but not T'Challa, but now you can have other aspects of the story, like and this one he was married to Nakia. Him and Nakia had a son. In the comics, it's Storm. So it's now Storm. We can get T'Challa and Storm while still having this other concept.
Okay. I was gonna say that. I mean, because that I would have thought it would have been better to kind of introduce the X-Men in itself, like kind of even like a hint at it at the end or something like that, like Storm arrives or something like that with the child, you know, and like maybe they didn't know type of thing, because it wasn't even clear if he was with was it Lupita's character? It wasn't even clear. Like it wasn't even clear if he was with her or not. I kind of felt like it was kind of a half-baked attempt to bring his son at the end, and especially if you're saying like the reason they kept it a secret was because he knew he was gonna die, or you know, didn't want him to grow up. They didn't want him to grow up in Wakanda or something. It's like
they want to grow up under the pressure of being king. And it was like, yo, you're gonna grow up and be like, yo, I'm gonna be king, I'm gonna be king. Like there's a lot of pressure for like a kid. So like, yo, we're gonna grow up away from that, and then by choice, if you want, like you are the rightful king, you can come into it.
And you're explaining it well. And I'm almost saying I feel like I disagree with the premise of that, because it's like the entire plot of the first movie was like save someone from that lifestyles, because we can raise them here where they're more, I guess, treated better, you could say, right? Like treating a more luxurious environment and everything. Like that was the whole plot of Killmonger, like you abandoned me, you know, and you should have saved me or something like that, and you killed my dad, whatever. But and then in this realm you're kind of saying like, you know, let's remove the pressure of being king and put him here. It's like a convenient thing, you know, and I get that they have to kind of thread that needle because he's dead, like, because you know it wouldn't have happened obviously if he was alive. I almost feel like you could have introduced it a different way, but I don't know. I mean, for you it was a redeeming factor. To me it was kind of like this is like a fake Fast and Furious 7 moment right here.
I think that was like a huge that 5-minute scene kind of like saved the entire movie for me. I was like, this is a really sad movie, and like I wasn't sure like how I was feeling while watching it, and then that one scene I was like, damn, they really just like set it up for you right there. They
did lean in heavy with like the emotions, and I appreciated that. Like I appreciated even the opening credit, just like seeing him and walking, and I was like, dang, it hits you again a little bit, like how sad you got when he actually died. But again, I felt like it was too much of a crutch of the movie. I feel like if the plot should have centered around like who's going to be the next Black Panther, or we don't have a savior, like there should have been a certain character we followed. And I felt like the fact that they ended it with Shuri being the next Black Panther, there was a lot of things outside of just the herb that T'Challa took that made him the Black Panther, right? Like she kind of just took it and became strong.
Once you have like the herb, so think of the herb as like the super soldier serum. Once you take it, you have all the heightened senses of the Black Panther. Like just because she couldn't throw like a proper punch before doesn't mean like she's still like, she can now. She can just punch and it's way stronger than what it used to be.
And that's why I was saying that. I was like, kind of like, you know, when Killmonger and him both have the herb, it's a good fight because they're both trained warriors and stuff like that, right? You kind of see how it's a good like clashing right here. Even when they remove the strength of it, it's like, okay, it's a good like battle right here. Honestly, Namor could have bodied her, and I don't know why that didn't happen. I almost feel like they spared that at the end too, because it's like, okay, this is honestly the first real time we see her in like hand-to-hand combat. And you know, before that she was using like those little blasters or something against Killmonger and didn't work obviously. But I don't know, I guess what I was really getting at is kind of like if the premise of it and the driving force of this movie is the loss of T'Challa, but then you're also trying to build out this separate like two other plots, pretty much everything is clashing at once. It'd be easier to follow the other plots if you can kind of see it in the lens of one character, and I didn't see it in Shuri. I kind of saw it in like the Queen a lot more, or I saw it in what's her name with the spear?
Okoye.
Okoye. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. But I felt like it was too much there. Sorry.
Well, yeah, the last movie. Well, so the last movie they destroyed all the herbs, right? They didn't think for the
Mhm.
second movie they were gonna ever like be in this hole that they were in. So now they have to write themselves of like, all right, cool. The herbs are gone. We have to write ourselves into like creating another herb. So like
Yeah.
half the movie is trying to discover like how the fuck are we gonna get the Black Panther powers back? So that's the whole they
But
have to
did,
write
did you
themselves
did
out
you
of.
feel that? I didn't feel that half the movie was about how to get the Black Panther back. I felt like half the movie was about, yo, we don't have a Black Panther anymore. Who's like this the man who can take over the mantle?
Well, no
Like the
one
herb
could because
itself
the
wasn't.
herb was gone.
Yeah, but the herb itself to me was like not discussed essentially throughout this movie until she went in the lab and made it. Like at least maybe that's what I gathered. I
That's
could
what
be
she was
wrong
trying
though.
to do at the beginning of the movie. She was trying to make another herb.
Oh, to like revive him and shit
Yeah,
or
to get
whatever.
because like it's an
Okay, yeah,
unnamed sickness. She was, I'm trying to make this so he doesn't like the sick.
yeah,
I'm trying to cure him basically with the
yeah.
herb.
No,
But you made like a really good point about like we can get down to the characters now. You made a really fucking good point about the queen. Son, Angela Bassett went the
Oh, yeah.
fuck off in this movie.
smoked it.
She smoked the shit out of this role. She
Yeah.
she reminded everyone like, yo, this is the acting background I come from. Like, that's like that. She was on point. She was
Yeah.
good. She was
She was A1. She kind of it really felt like she lost her real son. Damn
Yes.
near, like it was like damn, like you can tell the actors and actresses on set were definitely like saddened by the loss of Chadwick Boseman. So yeah, I'm sure that hit everybody. And just looking at him and like looking at him in interviews, he seemed how like kind-hearted he was. But yeah, she drove that home. I have no complaints about her particularly, but now the rest of the actors and actresses I feel like were very underbaked, honestly. I was talking about Shuri earlier, and even like who did you say earlier again too, when they got to what was the character's name, Riri Williams.
I liked her.
Honestly, I think that was the worst part of the movie to me.
So she
like,
was funny. What are you talking about? She was
I felt
funny.
I felt like the dialogue with her and Shuri and everybody was so like underdeveloped. It felt real amateurish. It felt kind of like underbaked, and it felt so forced because it's like, what's the point of this character? Like, it's like y'all are giving us an excuse just to have her there. Like, she honestly, this movie didn't need her at all, in my opinion. Like, I felt like it was just like an excuse to put her in. And I know the plot says like, all right, she's the scientist or whatever who made a machine that could potentially find vibranium. But then it's like, okay, this is why Namor and his people want to kill or eliminate this person, so let's find an excuse to drive her in, give her this whole iron suit plot. I felt like every scene she was in, one, I didn't like the CGI of her flying, and two, I didn't really like her dialogue with any of the characters. I really felt like the movie could have done without her completely. Like, I felt like it should have been about Wakanda itself and how they're going to overcome, a new threat without a Black Panther, and then who can take this mantle. Like, all right, you see M'Baku's not strong enough or something, can't do it. But her, what was the point of this, man? Like, a lot of the strategy of this movie. No, I thought she was the worst part of the movie, to be honest with you. Yeah, I thought she was arguably I thought the entire movie could have done without it. I thought every scene with her was pretty and I don't know, maybe I'm alone there because I remember in the theaters, people are laughing at everything she's saying. I just couldn't follow it. I felt like all the dialogue here, like the scene when she's like getting rescued from the college dorm and she's like throwing stuff at them, and it's just like their banter was so cheesy. It kind of just reminded me of like how far like the MCU has just kind of dived into jokes in like, mind you, like even Black Panther 1 had like funny moments, the what are those and shit. This one was kind of like every other scene has to be some kind of like, quip, like funny little quick one line. Hey, can I take one? Like, it's always like I'm not enjoying this right now because
that's what kind of movie you're watching as well. Like, it's essentially like a goodbye film, to Chadwick Boseman. So like, you gotta do some. I don't blame the jokes. It's I don't know. I liked her. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that because I actually liked her. I didn't have a problem with her at all.
I didn't. I guess I couldn't. I didn't need her because it's like I said, this is about Wakanda. I didn't need a new version of Iron Man or anything like that, kind of pushing the plot in any way. And I felt like this was just their way of trying to. I guess she has a movie or show coming out. I don't know, but like,
she basically takes the mantle of like the Young Avengers. She's Iron Man. Like, she built her own Iron Man suit.
And that's what I'm kind of like, all right, this is just your way of forcing her into the plot again. That's why I was like, I don't really need this. Like, the MCU, you're fine with introducing characters. You did a great job with introducing T'Challa and stuff in like Civil War. You see he has a real conflict, and he has his own movie, and then he gets killed in Infinity War, and then brought back in Endgame. It's like a really well-baked, well-developed character because he's the central character and everything, right? But this one is kind of like, hey, like, you know, we still have another IP of a character we haven't used yet, and we kind of need someone to fill in this place of Iron Man. Let's also put them in this movie with several other plots and several other characters.
Okay,
Let's
I
put
get
this
what you're
other
saying.
Iron Man
It is a very convoluted movie. You're not lying. Okay. So, what do you think about Namor then? Did you like Namor?
Oh yeah, Namor was actually good. I thought his abilities were amazing. I thought I've never seen someone the way they like made his flight look was so swift. Oh man, that was beautiful.
CGI was kind of spotty, but the way he maneuvered was cool.
Yeah,
that was the way sick. He dropped down, stopped, and went back up. I was like, oh, that's tough. Even Iron Man.
Like it looked like he was jumping on clouds, literally, like he was tapping on clouds or something, and then like jumping out the water, taking down planes. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a force. Like he's obviously way stronger than Killmonger. Like he looks like somebody like you can't beat, honestly, very easily at all. And even when they like showcased his actual brute strength, it's like, yeah, don't play with this guy. And then too, son, his army was even more OP. Like they're riding on whales and killer whales, and it's like, damn, y'all already strong, can fight, and y'all can control things from the water. It's like, yeah, they were nice. He was a great villain. Could I compare him to Killmonger? He probably needed more screen time. I think it was too much going on in the movie for me to like really appreciate
him. Needed more screen time.
Yeah, I think he
Sorry,
did.
What are you talking about? The third act of the movie is completely about him.
Yeah, it was good.
You got his origin story. You got why he's the way he is. You got like this entire kingdom. You get to see their way of life. You got that crazy wild song they have while they're showing the kingdom. You got their new sign, the Kamehameha wave sign, you know.
So why after he pretty much killed Shuri, then like he just agreed to fold? Like, isn't this supposed to be a villain? Like, I don't get it. Like,
so Namor is so they did a good job writing him, because like he's a villain for this movie, but he's not gonna be a villain always. Like he's like, yo, I don't give a fuck about y'all until it involves me. Until it involves the kingdom, then I'm about the shits. But until it does, I will leave everyone the fuck alone. So he's not an anti-hero, but he's not like, I'll save the world when I need to, you know, type of shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that scene really bothered me too. Like, I don't know. There was little things like, I guess, and the more I've been like sat on this movie and everything that's happened within it, I've kind of been like getting more and more disappointed. Especially like toward the end, it's kind of like you can kind of tell the generic tropes that happen within this movie, where like, all right, you know, it was nice to see Killmonger again, you know, like seeing her when she first takes the herb. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, you know, I'm excited. I like Michael B. Jordan, you know, and like, it was cool that maybe they can go this route of like darkness, like the way you saw Infinity War end. Everyone's dead. Like, you tried everything. Nah, this is what's going to happen right now. You're going to take this loss right now, right? And I was thinking maybe this movie could end by even teaching her like, yeah, revenge. You don't want to end up like Killmonger. Like, no, you want to take revenge for someone that killed your mom. Even though, once again, with Angela Bassett, you gave her like an off-screen death to a major ass character. But anyways, like when you're building up this idea of like revenges and everything you want, you already know what's gonna happen at the end of this movie. It's like, you know, she's gonna end up sparing him or trying to save him. And that kind of like, I guess when you really just see everything laid out in front of you, as like I'm an hour into this movie, I'm like, yeah, I really hope this can capture my interest again. But yeah, I was more so getting at that ending part where it's like you kind of told us what's going to happen at the end by telling us like, yeah, I know you want revenge. So then it's already baked in your brain that like she's not going to kill him. So it's like, okay.
As soon as you say revenge is not the answer, it's like, oh cool, she's not going to kill him.
It's like, I don't know, man. I just feel like they could have positioned the movie more about the resource of the herb more. I think they could have positioned it that way. I think they could have trimmed off the fat of like the you know, Ironheart character, Riri Williams, and everything like that. I think that could have been a good, and I think they could have definitely positioned it behind Shuri. Now that could have been a strategic decision to like not spoil who would be the next Black Panther within the trailers, but
they did.
Yeah, and we essentially saw 15 minutes of Black Panther on this movie. So
yeah, we did. Did you like M'Baku in this movie?
No, I think they kind of disrespected my man's dude. I like
not disrespect. I mean, the last movie he was like brute strength, this, that, and the third. And now in this movie, he's like mad smart and strategical. He was like, yeah, your brother wanted me to look after you, be your protector. I'm like, when?
Yeah, you see,
Within the year that he had, like, when did he tell you to do
that's
all
what I'm
this?
saying.
And
Like
why
a
is your
lot of
entire demeanor now changed?
a lot of the driving force in this movie was done off screen. Like even when you talk about his son, when you talk about M'Baku's character change, when you talk about like Angela Bassett dying or the Queen dying in the movie, like all these things are like driving forces off screen, and you have to kind of give it grace because the main character dies. So you're like, it's like, all right, oh, we'll let it pass, but it's like you shouldn't, you know, like you kind of shouldn't like a movie for what it is. And mind you, I went in this movie with like, I don't want to say low expectations, but I was more so like, I hope this will be just, you know, good. I'll be content if it's fine. But yeah, M'Baku, they kind of, I loved him in the first movie. In this movie, they kind of just, they shafted his character. They made him like, I don't know, too jokey too. I don't know. He was just a weak guy. He was just there for the sake of it. I think he got like 10 minutes of screen time. I do also want to call out the very ending. I just want to understand what the strategy was, I guess, or maybe I'm thinking about it now. Did they had some like signal thing in the water to like disarm the everything in the water? Because my thing is like, why did you go into the middle of the water to go fight them? That's what I was curious about. Was that their way to bait them out or something like that? Like maybe I missed this part.
Where else would they fight them at?
I thought they would just come to the land again, come to my home turf.
Why the hell would you welcome Wakanda again? You saw what the fuck they did, right?
You saw it destroyed. Yo, that was the best scene in the movie,
up and essentially like destroy like the city.
That was the best scene. To me, that was the best scene when Namor and his army like took over Wakanda.
And they were never gonna fight them on land. They're like, yo, that's a disadvantage. So like, all right, cool. For them, I was like, we can't go to them. They have to come to us.
Yeah, that was I guess I was kind of like, dang, you're gonna go into their territory where like they can surround your ship, destroy this ship, and do like
you don't have much of a choice. Like they literally cannot get to them.
Yeah, they got like sharks and shit. So I'm like, if y'all fall down, it's over. You know,
they did.
Like,
they had a big ass like water battle. That's terrifying. Yeah. To fight in the water is terrifying with sharks, whales, and then also drowning. That's crazy.
And then these people can fight. They're not they're not nothing. I was kind of like, to me, it seemed like almost a bad strategy. But again, I could be being a little too critical of it. And that was one of those scenes of like the bad CGI. Oh, I really hated what's her name's suit too. I didn't like it.
Ironheart or Okoye's
no.
suit?
Yeah, it was so bad. I'm sorry,
bad,
man.
Yeah,
like,
it's bad. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We can probably move on. Cinematography. Did you obviously said you didn't like the CGI. I thought it was kind of trash. I thought the underwater scene where they were showing, the kingdom or thing, that was cool. It's very different from what you saw in Aquaman. But it's still like in a good way, it looks pretty good. But the rest, like the fight scenes, are not good at all. Like the action's not good. Dude. The only good scenes is probably Namor when he's like fighting in Wakanda. Like there's too many slow motion shots, and I was like, this is not good. This is not a good action movie.
Yeah, I didn't really like the choreography in itself either. I didn't really care about the spear fighting and stuff like that. Like it didn't sell me. It wasn't as like, it didn't draw you in at all. Like I was really trying to focus on and trying to like root for the good guy, but I didn't care. Even like the end fight and stuff on the boat. I'm watching them one-on-one. Like you said, everything was a lot of slow-mo stuff, so it wasn't a lot to like draw from. Clearly, this Shuri versus Namor fight doesn't even hold in comparison. Wakanda, we've seen it. It looks beautiful, but it's not a new thing, so it's not a new bar you achieved in my world either. But yeah, the underwater city looked okay, I guess. I do think that some of the CGI on like the underwater creatures and stuff, that looked pretty good. Like, them coming out to fight them, that wasn't bad. But yeah, other than that, man, I really hated the flying. That I could have done without. I think it's like y'all definitely maximized your budget, clearly. Like it just wasn't hitting for me there. Like I really wanted to like this movie. I was going in it with I don't know. Yeah,
so what are your final thoughts? Would you watch this over again?
Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. You left a lot to be desired. Unfortunately, this movie wasn't terrible. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, but no, I will not be watching this movie again. I think it was a really lost within its plot. It didn't really have a centralized character to follow that well. And overall, I just don't see myself revisiting this film. So yeah.
I'm kind of where you are right now. At the moment of this recording, I want to say like I probably won't turn this back on, but if I was to sit with it more and because like it's a sad ass movie, like but above everything else, it's sad. Like it's It's really
Yeah,
sad. So I don't see
yeah,
myself watching it again anytime soon, actually. But like, there could be a time where I'm like, yes, put on Wakanda forever. But as of right now, like, I'm good. I don't want to watch this again.
yeah.
But
It
it's not a
left too
bad
much.
movie. It's not bad.
Yeah, it left too much to be desired. But
Mm.
yeah, I'm not going back.
My expectations were all the way to like the fucking like stratosphere, and it got brought back down to like 30,000 feet.
Yeah, and this is kind of this is just like a, I guess if this is how the MCU phase 4, leaves on, is this the note they're gonna leave on? That's even more disappointing. So yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, those are our thoughts. We would say if you haven't seen it, you're missing a good film, but not a good story. And if you have seen it, don't watch it again.